And welcome to everybody over on YouTube. This is Overtime, an extension of Off the Hook. And let's make sure everybody made it into YouTube land. Kyle, you here?
I am.
Okay, not a surprise. You're in the same room. Rob, Gila, you make it okay?
We did,
We
yes.
did indeed.
And-
And yes.
And Alex.
And
who's-
Alex had to step off mic for a brief moment. He'll be back in a couple of minutes, he
Okay.
said.
And we are, in fact, on YouTube.
We are, and we're
Okay.
sounding good, I think.
It's always good to verify that. And Micah Lee, have you joined us?
I have. I'm still here.
Great. Okay. Well, since Micah's on the phone, we're not going to be able to take phone calls, but we are, right, Kyle? There's only one phone line.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, but we have a chat for people who are listening on the YouTube stream. So ask your questions there. Gila will read them, and we can proceed in that way. But Micah, again, a fascinating book. I just feel so inspired that there's finally a way, to get out there and process this information. I was feeling the same frustration, just with so much of a glut of data being thrown at us, and so much being lost in the noise.
Yeah. I hope it works. I don't know how many people have actually read the book yet, but I'm really hoping that a lot of people get really inspired by this and start digging through all of this data.
How long have you been putting this together?
It took me about 2 years. I basically started. I started actually the America's Frontline Doctors stuff right around then. I was basically I thought that it was a really, really interesting set of work that I did for that journalism, and I was I really wanted to tell people about it and get more people to learn how to do it, and that was one of the big things that inspired it. And I have been kind of thinking about it for a few years before that even. But yeah, I've been working on it basically for about 2 years, and it was just published earlier this month.
Wow. Well, are you at all concerned though about quote unquote the wrong people picking up these skills? Is there any potential danger involved in becoming good at this?
I mean, yes. I think that there is some danger involved in being good at this, but I also think that the wrong people already, in a lot of cases, already have these skills. I think that, a lot of police or, intelligence people or, people who work for repressive regimes and stuff, they're the people who already have these skills, really, to, dig through data sets and find stuff. And I think that, the people who don't have these skills are everyone else. Yeah, so I'm not. I don't know. I'm a really big proponent of more people learning more skills and information being free, and so I think, and then also maybe some more kind of fascisty people might get these skills by reading this book, but they just don't really have the truth on their side. They have a lot of disinformation on their side. And these skills aren't really helpful with this information. So
Interesting. Yeah, I guess that would be true. Have you ever come across a leaked data set of a group that you might feel some sympathy for, puppies for orphans or something like that? would that make a difference in how the information got processed?
yeah, I mean, I always make decisions about I definitely prefer when I'm picking any sort of journalism to work on to kind of pick things that I don't like and want to change, I really try to have impact. And so if there's a data leak for, puppies, unless I had some sort of reason to believe that this puppy charity is actually, a terrible front for, arms dealing or something, and I could actually
Right.
prove that with the data, I would just skip it and move on.
Or maybe Rudy Giuliani got a puppy or something, and we should all be concerned.
Yeah, that's true. That could be some hard hitting news.
Wow. Well, there's so much out there, and it's just really incredible that these tools are becoming known to people, and I think it's all part of spreading knowledge and educating people. Now, Kyle brought up the tools, and I see a bunch of them here that I haven't used: Danger Zone, Onion Share, of course, the Tor browser we're familiar with, Signal app, and we use Secure Drop at 2600. But can you tell us something about those other apps and what they do?
So actually, in addition to doing journalism, I'm a software developer, and both Danger Zone and Onion Share are both software that I made, that I developed. And here, actually, I can post some links in the chat.
You're in the chat as well. That's great.
Yeah. Here's Onion Share. So basically, oh wait, I have to wait 24 seconds before making another post.
Yes, Gila can explain why that is.
Sorry, we have slow mode enabled, Micah. Sorry about that. Actually, not sorry. It is very helpful, but yeah. So hang in there. Actually, if you're trying to send links, you may not be able to post them. I may need to. So.
Are you seeing the links that I posted? I just posted. It says dangerzone.rocks and onionshare.org.
Negatory. You said dangerzone.rocks?
Yeah, because Danger Zone rocks.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I didn't know that was a TLD.
Onionshare.org. So basically, Danger Zone was kind of inspired by Cubes, the Cubes operating system. The idea is like when you're working with data sets that include Office documents or PDFs or things, just opening those could hack your computer. But a lot of times you really need to open them because that's what the data is. And so like you can't be sure what's safe to open and what's safe not to open, or what will hack you if you open it. And so Danger Zone is basically a program that takes Office documents like this and converts them into PDFs that you know that you could open that won't hack your computer. And it works in a very similar way to how like the Cubes operating system trusted PDF feature works, where it's basically, except with Danger Zone, it works on any computer. It works on Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and it uses Docker containers. So it's sort of a digital version of like taking a document and then printing it out and then rescanning it, so that if it has any malware, if it has anything that tries to phone home, all that stuff will be stripped and you just get like the rescanned version. And then it also does like OCR, so optical character recognition, so that you have a text layer still, so you can still like copy and paste from the document. But yeah, that's basically what Danger Zone is. And so, yeah, it's useful for working with leaked data sets, but it's also just like, let's say you get an email with an attachment and you're not quite sure if it's legitimate or if it's phishing, and it's safer to just run that attachment through Danger Zone before you open it, because then you won't get hacked. So that's what Danger Zone is. And then Onion Share is software that I first started developing back in like 2014, and now there's a big team of people that work on it. And it basically uses it's software that uses Tor Onion services. It turns your computer into a Tor Onion service to do a variety of things, like primarily sharing files. So if I wanted to securely and anonymously send you a bunch of files, I could open Onion Share, drag the files into it, click start, and then there's just an Onion address in my window, and I can copy and paste that to you through like an encrypted messaging app. And then you can load that URL in Tor browser, and what you're actually doing is loading a website hosted directly on my computer, and then you can download files directly from me. And so it's like no third parties involved, but I can send you files. You don't have to know who I am at all because it's an Onion service. And it could also work the other way. You could turn your computer into like an anonymous Dropbox. So you can make it so your computer has an Onion address, and then you can share that in your social media bio or whatever, and then anyone on the internet can go and upload files to your computer, which is another reason to use Danger Zone, because they could also upload malware to your computer.
Right. Wow. That's a lot, and it's something that I think we all should be familiar with, because it's dangerous out there, and you have to be careful of what you're uploading and downloading and all that. Do you use Secure Drop at all?
Yeah. I use SecureDrop. Actually, like early on in SecureDrop's life, I like contributed some code to it also. But so at the Intercept, we have a SecureDrop, and I like manage the SecureDrop servers, and we have other people that check it, but I occasionally check it myself. Yeah, I'm a big supporter of SecureDrop.
Great. Yeah, we use it here at 2600 as well, and it's
You
very
ever get good
effective.
stuff?
Yeah, well, mostly we get I don't want to say spam, but it's a lot of religion for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. Go ahead, Gila.
Interesting.
We do have a comment from our good pal Johnny Fusion, who probably would call us, but can't right now. He says, so looking at the book on the website, I see he talks about Epic, and I dug into that leak quite a bit. The hardest part was importing the databases as they were so big.
Yeah. So they are huge, and so part of this. So let's see. So actually, if you go to hacksandleaks.com and click Start Reading, this is the entire book, and so Epic is chapter 12, and so this actually goes over the Epic data set. So the example, well, the first half of this chapter is just teaching you how to do SQL, like SQL queries, but then the second half is the Epic data set. It's huge, and one of the smaller, there's like 9 different MySQL databases, and the smallest one is like about 2 gigabytes, and the bigger ones are like 15 gigabytes or 20 gigabytes, and so they're enormous and take a lot to import. With this book, you just import the smallest one, which is still big, and it still takes a while, but it does actually like walk you through exactly how to do it and exactly how to even like if something fails in the middle of the import, how to drop your database and start over. And there's some tips on using cloud servers. So this is one of the things when I'm working with data like this that's so big, it's really helpful to use a server that's just always on, that's not your own like laptop. And so you can like SSH into it, you can connect to it remotely. You can set up a MySQL server there and then import it, and then it might take you a few days of your import script run before it's finished, but a few days later it'll be finished, and that's just like really annoying if it's just on your laptop and you're trying to like suspend it and like use other software and stuff. So using a server to do this stuff is really, really helpful. Yeah, definitely it's time consuming to import the data, but once you have it imported, there's a lot of really interesting data. And that chapter also goes into, exactly how to get past Epic's who is privacy, which I think is probably the most interesting stuff. I don't know. Are you all familiar with Epic? Like what this company is?
That was the question I was going to ask you, Mike. This is Alex. I'm back here. We're talking about Epic, the domain name registrar. Is that right?
Yeah, EPIK.
Yes.
It's like a Christian nationalist company, basically. They are a domain name registrar. They also have a few other services, like they do some web hosting, and they have like a kind of Cloudflare competitor type thing. It's run by a guy named Rob Monster.
That's right.
But it's
you can't make it up.
Yeah. But so their domain name stuff. So a lot of people move to Epic when they get like deplatformed from other places. So like 8chan, the mass shooter who went into like I think a grocery store or a Walmart in Texas and killed like dozens of Latino people, posted his manifesto on 8chan. And so then I think 8chan was using GoDaddy, and GoDaddy kicked them off after that, and then they just moved to Epic. Like Gab, which is like this far right social network, that's also hosted, like the Tree of Life synagogue shooter that a few years ago that killed a bunch of Jews who were like on Shabbat at a synagogue. Posted to Gab like right before he went in and did the shooting, and so Gab is using Epic. So basically, like it's a lot of websites like this, and some neo-Nazi websites and stuff, And so all of these domain names are protected by Epic's Whois privacy service, and this is their databases. So basically, like at the point of time when this hack happened, which was I think like September 2021, maybe. Any domain registered at that point or earlier, you could actually go through and find the real owners of these domain names. So you can as part of the example, so 8chan renamed to 8kun, I guess, to kind of rebrand itself, and also like the people who own it are also probably the people behind QAnon, which is a whole other mess. But as an example, I show you how to like run the queries to go and find the like actual ownership information behind the 8kun website, and also oathkeepers.org uses Epic, and I figured out like the technical contact was like someone else that I cross-referenced in the Oathkeepers email dump, and it's basically like this seems to be their tech support guy who runs some like little company in New Jersey. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that.
Wow. How do you keep up with it all? I mean, there's just so much out there. It'd be good just to read a summary of what's been done so far, because it really is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't keep up with all of it. I keep up with my own little like what I've managed to track and to follow, but yeah, there is so much out there, and there's also like a lot of good work that I probably am not that aware of, and also like this happens all over the world, and I only speak English and like a little bit of Spanish, so but there's like a huge like we were talking on the show like Russian language data breaches. There's huge Spanish language data breaches. Like the entire Mexican military's like exchange server, their email server, was hacked and leaked, and this was like a huge scandal throughout Mexico and also throughout a lot of Latin America. Was like, here's all the internal secrets of the Mexican military, and stuff like that. Like that barely even like touched the United States, but that was like 500 gigabytes of email or something. So
well, on that topic, because that certainly wouldn't sit well with the military people in Mexico. But have you gotten any kind of negative response from putting out this book? People who don't want to see that out there.
I haven't gotten very much negative response yet. I've definitely, well, actually, that's not true. I did notice that like a profile for me appeared on like a like Antifa Watcher website.
Oh wow.
So I guess that was a negative response, but like someone just pointed it out to me. Like I didn't actually even notice on my own, except for someone showed me. I'm expecting some of that will happen more because there is so much of this book is kind of like about researching the far right. So I'm expecting probably there will be some more stuff like that. But pretty much like it's mostly been positive reactions. But I also think that a lot of people haven't like actually gone through and read the whole book yet, and maybe that'll change.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, didn't you get your Twitter account suspended for being a journalist and reporting on Twitter?
Yeah. I was one of the journalists that like right after Elon Musk took over Twitter, he suspended my Twitter account. And like the actual tweet that I got suspended over was a tweet about how Twitter is now censoring Mastodon links. I mean, at the time, I think they stopped doing that.
Uh-huh.
So I think I was had a screenshot of the like Elon Jet Mastodon account or something.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so I got kicked off Twitter, and then Elon Musk did this whole like Twitter poll and decided to I was like permanently suspended, and he decided to like unpermanently suspend me, but I was still suspended until I like logged in and deleted the tweet. And I basically didn't log in and delete the tweet for like 6 months or something, so I kind of stopped using Twitter. But then I decided to log in and just delete all of my tweets, and now I just don't use Twitter. I have tried to use it a little bit to like tweet about my book, because I just published a book.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure I'm like pretty shadow banned. Like,
yeah.
I have like 50,000 followers, but like I get like 300 views when I tweet.
Yeah, no engagement. We this is the same problem we had with Hope last week, trying to get people to buy tickets, and nobody's responding. Usually, we at least get a lot of trolls, saying something to us, but nobody. And you look at the number of views, and it's like a couple of hundred, and we have what 50,000 followers. And
Yeah.
we used to get so much, no matter what we said, we get a lot of engagement. So it's, and Mastodon is great. We get a good response there, but it doesn't compare yet to what we had on Twitter before Elon Musk got his hands on it.
Yeah, I know. Same. I use Mastodon and Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
Even recently decided to try using the corporate ones like Threads. But like it's just not. None of it compares to like the old days, the pre-Elon Musk days of Twitter.
No, it doesn't. And I refuse to call it X. I just, I feel like that would be giving him something.
Yeah. I mean, he already owns it though. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm sort of, on the like, maybe just completely just abandon Twitter to the trolls, like camp. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It's tough. It's tough. Rob, do you have something? Rob? I think they're frozen. Oh, okay. Yeah, Rob, you had your hand up, but then you froze, so I'm not sure if you were talking. Okay, are you there?
I was not, but hello. I experienced similar symptoms on Twitter when I did what you did, Micah, and I deleted all my old tweets. I just figured, blow this for a game of soldiers. I'm done actually participating in Twitter, and I just kept it to a few tweets about, I'm releasing this thing, I did this thing. And since I did that, I also saw, and also, this may be just a factor of what era Twitter is in now and how they're doing things, but compared to how much engagement I used to get, there's almost nothing now. And it's sad. It's, an era has well and truly ended. But Mastodon's great. And in fact, you were talking about responses to your book, Micah, and we did notice that on your Mastodon, you posted one of your first Amazon reviews, which was rather entertaining.
Yes. Wait, let me pull up the toot.
I still can't get used to that word.
Yeah. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Yeah. Great book. Just leave politics out of it.
When people say that, we get that all the time. It just basically means that they disagree with us on some issue. And, if you're talking about, these people are starving in this particular country, don't get political. It's just something they don't want us to talk about. And, politics,
Yeah.
we're all
Also,
political.
like, how do you leave politics out of a book when you're like, like covering leaked data sets of like police documents or, Russia during a war or whatever. Like, I don't really see how to leave politics, how that's even possible.
Well, let's just talk about, leaks of non-controversial places like, Macy's or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what they want.
But then like, what's the news value to like, why does anybody care about that? I mean, obviously privacy, but like I feel like that's where you will want to report on that is like all of these Macy's customers were hacked and their information was leaked. But like the actual like revelations, the big stories that change things, it's not going to be there.
That's what they're afraid of.
That characterization, that reply, in this context, actually, it nullifies itself. It functionally using these techniques. There's no application in a situation that is not inherently got some political angle to it or some action because they're data sets that are from breaches. So inherently it's sort of an ignorant comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're on Amazon, so people can get the book through Amazon. But I saw on your page, it's Amazon if you must.
Yeah, Amazon is pretty evil. And so if you want to get the book, so if you go to hacksandleaks.com and click buy, I have 3 options, and basically buying directly from the publisher, No Starch Press, is a good way of doing it. And No Starch is great. And actually, if you wanted to buy it from No Starch, they have discounts all the time. And actually, if you wanted to wait until Hope, and I'm sure they'll have copies of it at Hope. They always have like discounts while they're at conferences and stuff.
And I hope
So
you'll
you
be
can
at
maybe
Hope
get
signing.
some-
I hope you'll be at Hope signing books too.
Yeah, I would love to be at Hope signing books. And in fact, I've been meaning to. I haven't done it yet, but I noticed the call for papers is open, and I want to submit a talk about my book. But yeah, I'm totally planning on coming to Hope, and I went last time, and it was great. It was my first time in Queens, actually.
What do you think of Queens? What do you think of Queens being a first time?
You know, I kind of loved it. I like it was kind of like hard to get to, but once you're there, like I think I stayed in a Airbnb kind of near the university.
Okay.
And I really liked it. Like I felt like it was a whole different part of New York City that I hadn't really experienced, and that it was very like, I don't know, a lot more relaxing than like Manhattan and even Brooklyn. And like, yeah, I liked it. I've never lived in New York, but but yeah, I definitely enjoyed Queens, and so I'm excited to go back.
It's gotten a lot easier to get to. The transit has improved significantly, and also you're only minutes away from the biggest Chinatown in the world outside of China. So that's something right there.
I was really like, when I heard about that, I was super excited, and so like when I was at Hope last time, I went to the biggest Chinatown. I went kind of late, and a lot of things were closed, but I found like this amazing like hot pot restaurant, and it was very cool.
Yeah, no, we went at like 2 a.m. and found things on a Sunday. So that was incredible.
Nice. Oh yeah, but so you can buy my book from No Starch Press, and if you buy a copy of the physical book, then they give you the ebook for free too, which is like the PDF or the EPUB or the Mobi, like all of those. So that's cool. Or you could just buy the ebook; it's a little cheaper. Or there's a link to bookshop.org that you can order online, and that's basically like a way more ethical way of buying books than buying them from Amazon, because bookshop.org actually like if you want to, you can choose your favorite local bookshop, and a chunk of all of the things that you buy a chunk of the money will go to that bookshop. But if you don't choose one, then they just distribute it between all these local bookshops. So it's a way of actually supporting local bookshops, but still just ordering it online and getting it shipped to you. And then also, like, you can buy it on Amazon, and it's in Amazon. It's in the Kindle store and all of that. But if you have a local bookshop, you can actually just go to them and ask them to order the book for you, and they will. And so that it gets even more money to your local bookshop if you want to do that. And also, like, if y'all are able to go to the library and like request that the library get a copy of the book.
Yes, good idea.
It doesn't seem like there's a like global centralized way of doing that. I think it really helps if just someone who that's actually their library goes in and asks.
Just going into your library, that's a good idea. People need to do that, you know?
Yes. I did that in my library. It was great. I mean, I guess I said that I was the author, but like they were just like, oh yeah, absolutely, we'll get it. And then they actually, I should go check. I wonder if they have it now.
You could probably host a signing there.
Tomorrow.
You could host a signing there as well.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Kyle.
I just wanted to say that's a great idea as far as housing. A lot of people I know volunteering and attending the conference were able to go in on a place, and that helps locally. And the other thing about libraries, it's so crucial. I mean, we're living in the information age. That is a resource. Those we've had questions. We have this sometimes, people accessing the new system that we developed for digital subscriptions, and just generally, we cater to people across age groups, and people have varying levels of experience with technology, and that is something that we think about and will advise people if they don't have friends or family that can help navigate them through uncompressing a file, or using something in a particular operating system that is the one that they have access to, but they're inexperienced and they're literally trying to access information. That is exactly what librarians do, is help people access information and answer questions and walk them through that stuff. And a lot of them, those institutions have workshops and people available that can help with that, especially to those that don't have family members or individuals around them that can help and guide them through a lot of that process.
Yeah, libraries are amazing, and this is sort of off topic, but if y'all don't know about it, there's an app called Libby where you can put in any library cards that you have, and then you can check out ebooks and audiobooks through your local library. So
Oh, wow.
if you're like, yeah, so and then you can like get the ebooks delivered to a Kindle or to other ebook readers. So like, if you want to listen to a new audiobook, you can just like put your library card in Libby, search for audiobooks that are available, and then check one out and just listen to it. And it's free because it's the library. You just have to return it.
That means getting a library card, people. If you don't have
Yeah,
one,
yep.
get one. Get
You
one
need
today.
a library card because it actually, even though it's all digital and really, I don't know, it's all like artificial scarcity. It still is like your local library needs to have bought a license of this ebook or a license of this audiobook in order to check it out.
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, and having done some work in the industry, your local library is, because there's no centralized way to just request all libraries order something, because the way libraries work, they serve their own community. So your local library is it's their job to get the books in that your local area wants. And so yeah, everyone, wherever you are, you should go to your local library and you should request books you want. And all the people at libraries whose job it is to select and order books love when that happens, because that's a suggestion that they don't have to just come up with something they think might be something somebody wants, because they actually have proof positive that it will serve one of their users. So yes, request Micah's book from your library, request all the books you like from your library, and it'll be there for everyone.
Especially this one, because it's self-help, and it's about going through and accessing and using tools with information.
Self-help. I like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, also, I was thinking this book is a great gift for anyone that you think might have technical knowledge or just interest. They won't be able to put it down, right? I mean, it's so open and easy to walk through the various stages, and boy, the payoff is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, please, I'm available if you have questions, or if you are, if you like end up like publishing a blog post with some like cool shit you found, like let me know. I'm really into it.
Gila, any questions from our chat listeners? Or are they chatting amongst themselves, which is why I was always a critic of the chat.
They're listening. We had people ask about Micah's Twitter handle, which he very graciously provided. And hang on, we did get a yes. If you're looking for Micah, your information for Mastodon and Blue Sky is available on the page for the book at hacksleaks.com. But you can also find Micah at Micah F. Lee at Twitter, and at Micah F. Lee at infosec.exchange on Mastodon. Basically, if you look for Micah Flea, you'll find Micah. And I did want to share one good comment. Part of the idea, says our good friend listener Lex, says part of the idea is to shine a light onto things that need to be highlighted, but as Mike was describing earlier, the decipherer can choose how widely to share the data, which mitigates danger. So I think very excellent cut to the heart of it. Yes, we love hearing from you guys. We have 53 people watching right now, which is great.
And they're all listening intently.
We hope
as well
so.
they should be.
Yeah.
The Mac Geek says, great show. I'm enjoying the talk. And yes, they are listening intently. And if you guys want to be part of the conversation, the chat is the way to do it this week. Not because we have Rebel on the phone, but because we have Micah on the phone. And you can't call us, but please do feel free to hop in the chat, share anything you might like with us. And yeah, that is true. Yeah, someone says we're listening, not watching. Maybe someday that sticker will move. You don't know.
Well, it's YouTube.
You don't know.
Technically, it's a video, but we're not going to put our faces on it.
Yes.
Although talking of YouTube, we did get a comment on Mastodon referring to the fact that the YouTube vendetta against Firefox appears to be continuing as they're finding YouTube is buffering like crazy, which is especially funny for a video like ours, which has no video movement. So the bandwidth needed for it must be negligible compared to like an HD moving video. And yeah, a lot of people have been reporting over the past weeks that YouTube has been slowing down for people using Firefox, especially using Firefox with ad blockers, and
wait,
the grumblings are grumbling.
We don't have ads on our YouTube feed here, so why would it be buffering for us?
Because YouTube is punishing everyone using ad blockers, or at least they're trying to. And for a lot of people, that's succeeding. Usage of ad blockers has actually gone down a little bit among people who want to watch YouTube in their browser.
You know, we seem to be moving into a world of evil, and we need all the tools we can to fight back this kind of corporate oppression of one sort or another.
You know, I had this conspiracy theory that Google was also making Google Meet work less well for Firefox users, because I use Firefox all the time, and for years and years you couldn't have the like special what's it called, the effects on Google Meet where you can like change your virtual background or like look like a dog or whatever unless you were using Chrome, and it just wasn't available. When you go to it in Firefox, it's like, sorry, your browser is not supported, and I'm like, what is this, like Internet Explorer? But then as of like 2 months ago or something, it just started working. So I guess they updated Google Meet to support Firefox. So I think that my conspiracy theory was wrong.
Well, I wouldn't let go of that conspiracy theory too quickly, because there's certainly a lot of evil we can point to. We've encountered our email about Hope going into spam boxes. Our own staff, people that are on the organizing committee, mailed to them from another member on a mailing list, went into spam. And it's just incredible that these companies can block communications or the ability to see something just because they can. And
Did you hear about what Elon Musk did with Twitter with the t.co URL shortener and like link times?
No.
Basically, like I could maybe try and see if I could find the actual like research that people did, but I think the markup, it's this nonprofit newsroom, figured it out. But basically, when there's like a list of sites that Twitter considered competitors, and so that included Mastodon and included I think Blue Sky, and I think also Substack and Patreon and a few other things. Wow. And any links to those, the t.co URL shortener would work, but it would take an extra like 500 milliseconds. So if you click on a Mastodon link, you have to wait a second or like half a second before it redirects. But if you click on anything else, it redirects immediately. And basically, they were just trying to make it like make the UI of their competitors feel worse.
Wow. I mean, it doesn't sound like much time, but I guess it adds up.
Yeah. I mean, it's not much time, but it's definitely like it's one of those things that like annoys you and it's like puts friction, and you're just like, I'm not going to click on these links anymore because it's slow.
Right.
It makes it feel like, you know, Twitter is nice and fast, but these other sites suck.
You know, has Twitter had a data set released or found anywhere? I'd like to jump on that.
Do. So I mean, there was the Twitter files, which I don't really think it was not a data set that was released because it wasn't public. It was like a bunch of like conservative journalists that were like handpicked by Elon Musk to like share data internally. It was more like an authorized leak.
Right.
But I was thinking that if there is like a big data leak from Twitter, it should be called the X Files.
Oh, wow. Of course. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That would be the one good result of their name change.
Yeah. Then I'll say X. That'll make me say X. Wow. Go ahead, Alex.
Well, I was just going to suggest that we give out the phone number.
How can we do that, Alex? Because Mike is on the phone.
Because Mike is on the phone.
We only have one phone, so we can't do that.
We only have one line.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Otherwise, you would have been hearing a Rebel diatribe by now. By the way, Mike, a Rebel is one of our regular callers who basically stays on for about 10 or 15 minutes despite every attempt we make.
There's no basically. Just stop with that talk right now.
Oh, it's just something we've learned to swallow. And yeah. But that's why we're asking people on the chat to ask questions, or people here to ask questions. Yes.
Yes. Very good. Yeah. Well, no, I think this has been a fantastic show, and I think it's great to have you on, Micah. And I think this will be a really interesting hot topic. I'd hope too. This will be excellent.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I really am intrigued by some of these tools. I hope people with idle machines start building their own sort of investigative labs, and it's just a great step by step. So thanks for putting this out into the world to really get people up to speed on what it takes to go through the kind of data that we're talking about all the time, and that is all around us.
If you're interested in building your own investigative lab, you should check out Chapter 5, which is about Alice, which is basically software. You could run it. It's meant to be run like on a server, and multiple people can use it, but you could also run it locally on your laptop in Docker. And it's basically lets you index data sets. So it doesn't work with everything, but with most data sets that you get a hold of, you can basically like run an Aleph server, and then you could just pump gigabytes of data into it, and it'll just look at each document and extract all of the text and like OCR the images and all sorts of stuff, and then make it searchable for you. And then you can also use it to like find connections between multiple data sets and things like that. And it's very cool. And it's what I think of when I think of building your own little data lab for like leased data sets.
I love that. Yeah, because we have a lot of spare and like old storage, and just I think people should really dig through their basements and think about all of the different possibilities when they're repurposing equipment. And yeah, I mean, maybe it uses a little bit more power, but if it's doing something that that takes advantage of the kinds of tools and puts information together that is valuable, it'll be worth that extra power. And I just think, yeah, it's great to give people an idea that this is what it's used for, but it can be used for anything. And having that kind of drive to purpose build stuff that you can apply to all kinds of other problem solving is just really empowering. I know that there's a lot of hackers out there that are into problem solving, that like working with equipment and breathing new life into it. That's something that I've done a lot of, and we have things that are just looking for things to do. And I had one more question that you touched on earlier. How far out do you think we are from having some of those AI tools that work offline? How long do you think it'll be before we can really bring those into our little labs and into things that we're putting together ourselves with off-the-shelf parts?
Honestly, there's already off-the-shelf parts that work pretty well, and a lot of the work that could be done is making them easy to use. I don't know if you're familiar with Hugging Face, huggingface.co. It's basically like it's like GitHub or something, except instead of source code repositories, it's machine learning models, and they're like almost all like open source. And you can just go in there and search for different types of models. And I've only played with it a little bit, but it's really impressive. Like you could actually none of it's going to be as fast or as good as like ChatGPT. Like the LLMs are trained on much smaller sets, but they're still trained on enough that, they can summarize documents for you and stuff, and you can run them directly on your laptop. And so like one that I've used a bunch is called Whisper, and it actually was released by OpenAI, but it's open source. Let me see, OpenAI if you just search for OpenAI Whisper, you'll find it. And this is a text or a speech to text transcription machine learning model, and it's really cool. What you can do is I've heard of people you can just download YouTube videos and then run the video through Whisper, and then you just get a transcript of the video, and it does a very good job at it. And it can also even translate stuff into English. It can't translate it into other languages, but if you find a speech in Russian, you can run that through Whisper, and then you get an English translation in text that you can just read. And I found that like it totally works on my laptop, and it works fine. It's a little bit slow, so like if I have like 10 minutes of audio, it takes about 20 minutes to process it. But like that's not that bad.
No.
So I feel like there's actually like a good amount of open source AI stuff that already exists, and that the hard part is that like you have to be a Python programmer, you have to like write a little script to do it, and there isn't just some like easy to use software that you can just like that anyone can just install. You have to be kind of nerdy about it and like experiment with it some. But I feel like a lot of that stuff is already there. The pieces haven't been put together yet to make usable tools.
And Gila, you have something.
We have a listener question. Micah, what's the process of finding a publisher and getting a book like this published?
So No Starch is my publisher, and actually, if you go to nostarch.com and up at the top of the website, you click Write for Us. No Starch is actually like they're very chill and they're very transparent about how everything works, and they're probably one of the easiest publishers to work with. And so you can actually just like email them a book proposal, and if they're into it, then they very likely will get it published. This is the only book that I've ever tried to get published, and I only actually tried to get it published through No Starch because I like No Starch books, and it was basically like the first. I basically like had this idea for a book that I've been thinking of for a while, and then I emailed them, and they were like really excited about it, and I was like, great, and that was kind of that. But so I'm sure the process is different in different ways, and I've actually been like totally off topic, experimenting with writing a fiction and learning about how that publishing world works, and it's entirely different. But No Starch is my only experience, and they're very easy to work with. And so if you are wanting to write a book, like a technical book, through No Starch, then just read their like Write for Us page, and yeah, I think you could probably get it done. It is a lot of work to write a book. You have to like read your own book at least like 20 times. You have to go through like each chapter, get several rounds of editing and stuff like that. But yeah, it's very cool. I'm very glad I did it.
Yeah, I guess it's fair to say that without No Starch, this book wouldn't have been published, right? At least not easily.
Yeah, not easily. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that they were just very enthusiastic about it. Like, it definitely would have been a much harder thing for me. And I really like No Starch. They're like always at the conferences I go to.
Yes,
and,
agreed.
And they're great.
And so I guess that's reason enough for people, if you want to buy the book, buy it through No Starch and look through No Starch's catalog and see what else they have, because they have a history of publishing really interesting, relevant material. No Starch. No Starch Press and nostarch.com.
Nostarch.com.
Nostarch.com. Okay, Rob and then Alex.
Hey, talking of No Starch, I mean, we've had, friend of the show, Cory Doctorow, has often spoken about how he also puts his work out, as you have, simultaneously free online under Creative Commons at the same time as he's publishing it. And he's spoken about having to talk to people in the traditional publishing world and convince them that this wasn't a ridiculous idea. Did you find No Starch to be chill about that as well?
Yeah, No Starch was very chill about that, and I think that also partially because a lot of their other authors have done similar things, and other authors have like specifically wanted to release their books under Creative Commons licenses, so they have like a lot of experience with it. I mean, personally, I think that if people want my book, they're going to pirate it, and that's fine because I want more people to read it, and I think it just makes sense to make it easier. And like, I guess I don't really have real numbers, but I think that the more the book is getting spread around to everybody, probably the more people are going to buy it anyway. You know, like I don't think that it's like every single person that like that is able to read a copy of it for free would have bought it. I think that, you know, if someone reads it for free and then they like it and they talk about it, other people are going to buy it from that. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like making it free is probably good business sense anyway. I mean, I don't know. This comes from the whole like the Pirate Bay days. The whole that's that ideology that I probably have retained.
Well, we found that the community tends to support that which it values, and yeah, there'll be some copying going on, but people will realize, they'll see the connection. If this is not supported, it's not going to continue, and it's not a very hard calculation to make. And that also applies in how you publish. If you publish digital material, do you want people to have the ability to copy it onto a different device? For us, it was a very short question. Of course, people should have every right, as opposed to with Amazon's way of doing it, where basically the information can disappear from your Kindle, or it can be prevented from being copied to other devices. So we find the most support comes from people who are able to appreciate the fact that they can copy a magazine from their laptop to their phone to whatever other device they can think of that they can read it on.
I should check the Kindle version of my book and make sure that it's DRM free. I think it should be, but I should verify.
Yeah, it's good to know. It's good to know. And with Amazon, you don't really have the amount of control you should have. They wouldn't even tell us who the subscribers were. We couldn't address them. We had to trick them. We had to put out a farewell issue before they cut off magazine subscriptions last summer, and basically tell people how to subscribe directly through us and still get the magazine on the Kindle, but just not use Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Micah, as a lawyer who's also a coder and a hacker, I also don't have a computer science background. Didn't study computer science or computer engineering. In fact, I studied philosophy as an undergraduate. But one of the things that I've found to be most useful when coding is writing effective loops. Like, even in Bash, it doesn't even have to be in something as complicated as Python, but just figuring out how to iterate through data, everything for every domain in this particular text file, or for every, whatever the hell it is, just the loops can be so, incredibly powerful, I think. And I'm wondering, what you think the most basic but yet effective programming technique is in your experience.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like, specifically for data sets, like, loops are amazing. And in fact, like, so the structure of my book is like, it starts out with here's how some computer security stuff, like using password managers a bit, and here's how to use BitTorrent, here's how to download data. But then it moves on to like the technical stuff, which is like how to use the terminal, and then it moves on to Python. But like the beginning of the terminal section is like you download BlueLeaks, and now you have a folder with like 270 zip files, and it teaches you how to use a for loop in Bash to unzip them all in a single command. And you could like right click on each one and go to unzip, but this saves a lot of time. And then it like goes on to like, here's how, like, using a for loop is really, 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 really a common thing and a really powerful thing. And it means that instead of having, it basically lets you automate stuff. Instead of having to do this thing 100 times or 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times manually, you do it once and then you just automate it in a loop. And I completely agree with that. And then like after like, it introduces loops by unzipping a bunch of files, which is, a common task. But then it does the same sort of thing when it goes into Python. It's like you're in Python and it's like, okay, here's how you open a spreadsheet, and then you loop through all the rows, and then you can just loop through millions of rows and run the same block of code. Yeah, so I guess I wanted second that loops are incredibly powerful and are one of the ways that make it so that it's possible for a mere human to sift through millions and millions and millions of records. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of other powerful things. Like I guess JSON is a really powerful way of structuring like arbitrarily complex data. And there's a whole like chapter on JSON, and actually the example for that is like from a Russian ransomware gang called Conti. They got hacked right after, I believe that they were infiltrated by a Ukrainian guy who was like a security researcher who was infiltrating them already. then Russia invaded Ukraine, and Conti kind of declared its support for Russia and threatened to like attack critical infrastructure of anyone who goes against Russia. And then Conti got like gigabytes of data leaks, and it included all of their internal chat logs, and those were all in JSON format. And so part of the book shows you how to like load this JSON file, and then how to actually like look through the chat logs using like for loops and very simple stuff. Like all of Python is like very concise and short and pretty easy to understand. There's like little 10 lines of code that do these things, but they're all incredibly powerful things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I went through those Conti leaks myself as well, because it was fascinating, because I've dealt with Conti quite a bit as a ransomware threat actor, and dealt with quite a few of their incidents. And I will say, though, they had excellent customer service, much better than most technical, any kind of tech service you get from any other companies.
Did you have to fill out a survey after you dealt with them?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Everybody wants a goddamn survey now. But, one of the things that your whole story about loops and the power of it and JSON things is funny. It reminds me of a couple of years ago, I had a case where I got dumped on me just a massive amount of transcripts and PDFs from like years of hearings. And I had to figure out from all these transcripts, any references to Yahoo. This was about, potential Yahoo breach and whatnot. And I remember saying on the air, like, I got all these PDFs and things. I wish that they were text files and I could go through them. And, but it's really hard. And then one of our listeners wrote to us, I think, and said, no, there's this Linux-based command line tool called grep PDF or PDF grep. And I literally just wrote a for loop script that said, go through every single file in this particular directory and search for Yahoo. And then because it had all of the structures and the regex that was associated with grep itself, but yet was specifically designed for PDFs, I could then have it give me the context around any reference to Yahoo as well. So give me 10 lines above and 10 lines below. And I will tell you, it saved me probably 40, 50 hours of going through these transcripts, just writing a for loop to do this. So it's really incredible.
Grep is also another one of those amazing tools. I never actually heard of PDF grep. But
I didn't either. Somebody told me about it.
What I've used before is a PDF to text, which is maybe part of like Poplar or something. I forget which package it comes from, but PDF to text can just like convert PDF. It just extracts the text content from it. And so what I probably would have done is that in 2 steps, like one, convert all the PDF to text files, and then grep through the text files with the like getting the context around it. And then also there's Alice, that thing that I was talking about. You can totally just like give it a folder with thousands of PDFs, and then it'll just crunch through them, and then you can search it. But it's like really nice and easy to use and stuff like that.
Wow.
Fantastic.
How do you spell that?
ALEPH. It's
Got it.
Yeah, it's OCCRP makes it. It's the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project. They do a lot of like organized crime stuff in Eastern Europe. But like docs.alice.occrp.org is the website for the software, and it's open source. And yeah, there's a whole chapter on how to use it.
Michael, we're in our last couple of minutes, but I'd just like to ask if there are people out there. I mean, it's obvious how passionate we all are about coding and getting things to work, but I imagine some readers might run into some difficulty or just have mental roadblocks towards this kind of thing. Is there any place they can go to get assistance or guidance?
That's a good question. I mean, there's like tons and tons of resources. For like my book covers a lot of different technologies. Like I think Stack Overflow is probably going to be a commonplace. But yeah, I don't actually have like a chat room or anything set up. Like, you're welcome to email me personally. As long as I don't get swarmed and overflowing with email, I'm happy to just help people who are interested in it. But yeah, like I think asking questions on social media, and maybe I could like respond to help publicly to help more people. Yeah, I wish I had a better answer.
No, that's fine. That's more than I would do actually. But on the subject of social media, do you want to give out any handles or addresses or things like that in this fractured and confusing time?
Yeah. So I'm on Mastodon. I'm at Micah F. Lee at infosec.exchange. And on Blue Sky, I'm micahflee.com. And actually, my website is micahflee.com. And if you go to that and click on About, it just has links to everything else. That's probably the easiest. Yeah, so you go to micahflee.com. And the website for the book is hacksandleaks.com.
And the book is Hacks, Leaks, and Revelations. And I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be plunging into it in the weeks, months ahead. And we look forward to seeing you at the conference this summer.
Yeah, I'm excited. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Micah. Take care.
Bye.
And I guess that's going to do it for us here in Off the Hook Overtime. So thanks, everybody. We'll meet here again next week. Alex, looks like you have something to say.
Yeah, I thought it was a great show. It was excellent to have Mike on. Fantastic.
We'll let our listeners decide if it's a great show or not. You can write to us, oth@2600.com, and tell us if it was a good show or a bad show, or if you don't care, in which case you probably won't write an email.
Yes, and I encourage everyone to be political, whether they're hacking or not.
Yes.
Especially if people tell you not to.
Yeah, do the most non-political thing, like buying ice cream, and make it political.
Yeah.
Right? Show them. You can put it anywhere. All right, that's it. We'll see you next week. Good night.